So we're set to go, and Harold Reynolds will step in to lead it off.
And here's the action man of the Seattle Mariners, Harold Reynolds.
The big favorite here. Hi, Harold.
Safe at first base is Harold Reynolds. Way back, it is gone.
It depends on where I hit in the lineup, really. And there's been a lot of talk of me hitting leadoff.
Harold Reynolds in the leadoff spot.
Harold Reynolds leading off.
Even when Harold's not on the show, he's still our man leading off right now. And then we got Cliffy and Rec and myself.
I mean, it's Harold's world. We know that. That's okay.
Our bad age.
It's all good.
Shop live.
We're checking out right now the different games going. Again, every team in action, including the Dodgers and the Mets. Our man Dan Plesac is actually going to have that game with Wayne Randazzo and Heidi Waddy and Apple Plus. It's interesting. You look at this game. The Dodgers playing better now, Rec. They tied up with the D-backs for top spot in the division. The Mets, as we mentioned, has been a real struggle. But for the Dodgers, I looked at a number the other day. 4.55 ERA would be their worst starting staff ERA in a couple of decades. A guy that could be critical at turning that around is a guy who was indispensable a year ago, Julio Urías.
He's been indispensable for this team for a few years now. I mean, you think about what he did in the playoffs a couple of years ago for this team and what he's meant to this rotation. He's been their most consistent piece over the last several years because of health, because of performance, because of everything. Well, he came out this year and the home run ball has absolutely eaten him alive. I mean, he is not usually prone to giving up these kinds of numbers with the home run ball. This is early in the year. Obviously he had the injury in late May, kept him out until just the last two starts before the All-Star break. But it was just struggling. The ball is up in the zone. The ball is flat. It's not moving the way it usually does. When I think of this guy, when he's at his best, he's keeping the ball down. He's keeping the ball moving. There's a lot of movement on his pitches. He's, not necessarily the type of guy who's going to blow anything by you, but the movement and the way he goes in and out and uses all his entire arsenal, hits spots, locates well. Well, when he came back, his last two starts, he had a bit of a clunker in his first one, but look, we'll give him that. His last start against Pittsburgh, I noticed the location was so much better. He really had a little bit of bite to his breaking balls. Things looked a little bit more crisp. Maybe that time off, I mean, I know it was a hamstring, so it didn't have anything to do with shoulder, elbow, nothing like that, but maybe it allowed him to heal up, and I think he's due for a really big second half. And like I said earlier, this Dodgers starting rotation really, really needs him right now.
No question. Meantime, the Mets, they need their guy, and Justin Verlander was very good in his last start. The peripherals that are concerning, a lot less strikeout per nine than a year ago. What are you seeing from JV?
Yeah, so from JV, for me, look, he's coming off of basically, injury in spring training. First month or so or more, didn't really play. And that's after playing last year and going 175 innings after not pitching for basically 2 years. So his body at 40 years old is on this roller coaster of going up and down and trying to figure it out. Well, now he came out this year. I just thought he came out a little bit rusty. Command wasn't what we've seen from him. The slider, the breaking ball's not quite to the level that we expect from a Justin Verlander. He doesn't leave a breaking ball up in the zone like that. That is not what we've seen from Justin Verlander over the years. Yes, the strikeouts are down, but to me, it's all about location. This is a guy who throughout the course of his career has been that elevated four-seam breaking ball down guy. And when you're not able to execute that fastball up with a breaking ball down, guys are going to start timing you, or they're going to be able to start guessing on you, or they're going to be able to start, figuring you out. He just hasn't had the same quality in his starts. I think his last two outings, we've seen a different JV, and that's what I'm really looking forward to with him and Urías tonight. I think this is going to be a pitcher's duel. I think these two are going to come out of the gate in the second half and really pitch well, and both of their teams need it.
3.6 ERA for Verlander. Again, not bad, but a year ago, the guy was microscopic, 1.75, while winning the Cy Young Award. All right, as we continue here with our leading off, we've got the Marlins taking on the Orioles. Again, two surprise teams so far, and the Brewers and the Reds. A lot of talk around, obviously, Ellie De La Cruz, 30 games so far, guys, hit 325. His numbers, by the way, Cliffy, he's on pace, 22 homers, 86 RBI, and almost 90 stolen bases.
It's amazing you can get a spark from one guy that just comes up and just change the whole landscape of that clubhouse, right? Everybody loves him. Everybody on the top step. The fan base have went to another level. My concern with this Reds team is protecting the future. But then I say, you know what? Your window's open. You never know when you're going to get this opportunity again. So you go all out. These guys know what they're doing. They understand it. Even without your ace and Hunter Green, who's going to miss a little bit of time, you still have guys that plan on the same consistent basis of playing small ball, understanding what is going to allow us to win games consistently And it's using our legs, using our ability to change the game with our legs, to change the game with being able to have speed along with defense, along with scoring runs when we have to score runs with less than 2 outs. And then you have an excitement factor. Now, these, sometimes you think, it could be too much. Guys are going to, sort of play, out of that who they typically are. And this is not this Reds team.
No.
They're totally different, and that's why they're in first place. You don't mess with this concept. At first, I thought, you mess with a little bit, sort of take guys and say, hey, we're gonna take your innings and back you off. No, your window is open. Let it stay open. Let's see how long it goes. Let these guys understand what you need to do to stay in the big leagues consistently and have longevity. Time is now. And that's it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm barring a surprise, this is going to be the matchup. Brewers and Reds down the stretch to win the division. So
it is. The Cubs are playing good ball over on the north side. They really are playing good ball. They went to the break with a nice little 4-3 road trip. But I think when you look at where the Reds are, you're going to have to catch them because they believe you are in their back seat, in that rearview mirror. And that's just how it is right now. On the flip down there in South Florida, I like where they are.
Yeah.
I
They're
do.
on pace right now to win 93 games, which is more than when they won the World Series. But I don't know if they can do it without Sandy getting back to being Sandy Alcantara.
One thing I see with Sandy is he's throwing non-competitive pitches with his changeup. And that's the one thing when you think about what made him successful last year, these are big boppers. That pitch out his hand looks like a strike. You get Bryce Harper to flinch, Matty Olson, that ball's tailing away at 92. Juan Soto's like, no, that ball hit the dirt. No, it didn't. You actually tipped into the glove. That's just how good it was. They hit a $140 on that changeup last year. This year, it is a non-competitive pitch. Look what that pitch is out of his hand. That is a ball, right? So if you're catching him, Rick, you're saying, wait, that ball doesn't have the same deception as it did last year. What's going on? Maybe he's aiming a little bit. Maybe he's holding on a little bit. I don't know anything about pitching, but I know something about hitting. If I can eliminate one of your unbelievable pitches out of your arsenal, it gives me a chance to have success against one of the best pitchers in the sport, the reigning Cy Young winner for a reason. So if you're allowing me to take the plate and say, hey, you're not going to throw that changeup for a strike. Now I can eliminate that and focus on whatever I feel you're going to try to get me out with. So Sandy now is, in his last couple starts, has been able to get that deception back a little bit. The problem with it is it's a hard changeup. It's 92 to 93. So if it's flat, it's going to look like a little, fastball that has no action on it and is sitting there in the middle of the plate. I think those are little things that he tries to figure out in the second half. I won't say it's easy. What I will say is the hardest part for him is, as a hitter, I'm focused on Sandy Alcantara. I'm focused on every little thing he's doing, every little mistake he makes, right? So if he's tipping, we all know he's doing something different than what we saw from last year, and that's a bonus for him.
One of the things I just want to add on. One of the things that I think guys get caught up in the big leagues sometimes is, well, I was doing this really well last year. How do I find that? And that doesn't always work because you're in the here and now. You're doing something different. You have to make adjustments based off of what you're doing now, not necessarily trying to be a guy that you were or doing the exact same thing. You have to find the feel that works now, not try to find the feel that worked then. And I think that's kind of maybe sometimes the mindset just needs to tweak that little bit. Okay, how do I make the adjustment? Like every day when you show up and you feel your swing, oh, I got it today, or I don't got it today, you can make an adjustment based off of that. I think that's where Sandy needs to find himself.
Marlins definitely need him too, because Yuri Perez just got sent down because he hit his innings limit. So they need Sandy, who obviously is a horse. That guy's going to pitch no matter what. All right, next up, D-backs and Blue Jays. And this is a good opportunity to see Vlad right now in the cage, of course, won the home run derby, to really focus on that trade. So Lourdes Gurriel makes the All-Star game, Rec. Moreno's numbers offensively aren't great, but defensively he's very good. Meantime, Dalton Varsho defensively excellent, but offensively is yet to get going. When you think about this Gurriel-Varsho trade, how it's impacted both teams, what stands out to you?
Well, I think for Toronto, they got half of what they expected, right? This guy has been awesome on the outfield, and the fact that they brought in Kiermaier and he has played as well as he has, you have obviously Springer out there in the outfield. They basically have 3 center fielders playing the outfield every single night. That pitching staff has to feel extremely confident. If the ball doesn't leave the yard, it's caught. And that has a tremendous effect on the way guys pitch. Jose Barrios has been a different guy this year, and I think that's part of what it is. You have someone like Dalton Varsho out there in the outfield able to do what he does. Offensively, he started to find himself. He started out really slow. And each month, He's progressively gotten better, and then in July, it's a short sample, but he only went 2 for 25, just seemed like he kind of fell back off. He's really got to find himself offensively, because this guy can bring you power and discipline at the plate, that nice combination from the left side that maybe they're missing right now in the middle of that lineup. Look, they have Bo Bichette on, an unbelievable pace right now. They've got Vladdy, dude rakes. They have guys who can hit, but if they get him going offensively, that team can really take off.
But it's for me. You watch this team and you just wonder, like, about pressure and what we forget, how the pressure sort of affects you at times, right? Like, the lineup in itself is long.
Yeah.
They have some really good hitters. They have power. They have speed, and they just sort of they individually go through the season. Like, you'll have a good day, Rick, and then I'll have a good day, and then you'll have a good one. No, collectively as a group, they should be pounding. They should be like beating guys every single night consistently, allowing their pitchers to go out there and not have to be, sort of pitching to perfection. You allow them not to be complacent, but 4 or 5 run leads should be what they have, and they don't have that consistently. And you just wonder what it is about this team with that type of lineup and that type of that type of power that you don't see it consistently throughout. It lets you know how hard the game is, but also lets you know how the pressure affects some teams that feel like they should be better than what they are.
Expectations can be difficult.
No question. And Varsho and Kirk, 2 guys who clearly need to pick things up offensively.